Hello everyone, welcome to the Friday preview show. I'm Julian Roberts, delighted to be joined by my good friend Jord, who's smiling at me because I've called it a Friday show, not a Thursday show this week.
You got it right, mate. You got the memo. I mean, oh my goodness, what a great episode of The Traitors last night. Can't wait for the final today on Friday.
Obviously this is the day that we sign our first player of the January transfer window, as promised by Neil Harris today.
I was also smiling because, like, I was about to say before we started with your intro, like, can I mention the moustache? And now it's out there. So
it's happened.
This happened. But let's
I am so pleased. This is one of the many moments where I'm very pleased. This is an audio only podcast for now because you can't see the terrible moustache I've tried to grow in January, which I think by the time I head to the Abbey on Saturday, I will have got swiftly rid of because it's not the strongest effort, is it, Jordan? I'm speaking to a man with a strong facial hair here, so you are authorised to speak on this topic.
Well, I was just thinking, like, coconut tier pod, Cambridge 11 of like haircuts and facial hair. That'd be a good one. That'd be a good one.
Well, we are going to start that series soon, actually. So, straight in with the plug. I think on Monday night, a few of us are getting together to record a best 11 of January transfers. January signings topic. All time. Good topic. Yeah. And the first name will be
when those three strikers signed today. Yeah. Langstaff, what a signing. Yeah.
You know where to go if you want to listen.
Mullin, what a signing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know where to go.
Today is going to really throw the cat amongst pigeons.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Obviously head to undertheabbeystand.com if you want to be a coconut tier legend and be part of the exclusive group who we love. Hopefully we bump into one of you in the pub, not one of the other the hundreds of people who don't seemingly, Jord, which are all the people we seem to bump into whenever we're out and about. But thank you, everyone. The other thing we've got coming up on the coconut tier pod, Jord, which I think we should start with, is, because it'll lead us nicely into the preview actually, is an interview with Lionel Perez, which you were supposed to be doing right this second, I think, but being him, he has delayed it for a week.
Well, also it fits into that Cambridge 11 of great hair / facial hair.
Yeah.
Someone once put together. Someone once put a banner out there saying, like, God with a perm or something along those lines. So yeah. Yes, was meant to be spending my Thursday evening online, dusting off my GCSE French, speaking to one Lionel Perez. He's not here. Julian is. It's
much
fine.
Worse facial hair.
It's fine, I guess. But yeah, no, very much looking forward to that. As always, I was sort of like, oh, how do I approach this? And then within sort of 20 minutes, I've got 4 pages of questions. So I need to rein it in. But yeah, very much looking forward to that.
That's going to be
there's
great.
There's a lot that's gone on in his time with the club, with Roy McFarlane, John Beck, Shaggy. So yeah, loads there to grill him on, but also like he's played with Zidane and stuff like that. So yeah. Really looking forward to speaking to him. And
got chipped by Cantona, didn't he, for Sunderland?
That's in the running order. Yeah. Match of the day opening credits for many years has visuals of him like with his hands on his hips because he's been chipped. So yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully that's enough to persuade people to sign up to the coconut tier.
Well, there's plenty of stuff. We'll also do a January transfer review after that, which, depending on your outlook, will either be it'll be great if we've signed loads of players or if we've signed no players. If it's a middle ground, it'll still be good, but it'll be what you expect.
Arguably Perez's best moment was crippling a Tranmere goalkeeper, so it's quite fitting that I touch base with him after we've thrashed Tranmere at home.
Yeah, well, do you want to, for the younger listeners, why don't you sort of tease that Perez pod with, is it your favourite Perez moment, the Tranmere moment that we were discussing earlier offline?
Gather round, folk. Grandpa's got a story.
It's story time. Yeah.
What did you do when ITV Digital went bust? Yeah. Is it my favourite moment? Do you know what? It's a hard one to top, but I always remember when he was this was back in a time, right? Pre-social media, Julian. Like, just imagine that, right? Like, no social media.
No, I actually remember. I'm of an age where I just about remember that time.
No smartphones. I think there was like think there was like a hotline where you could call up to get Cambridge United news.
What
But
sort of
anyway,
hotline? Oh yeah,
yeah,
right. That's what. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, not worth the money, basically. But I remember it was kind of sort of like it was like rumored, and then I think it was in like the Cambridge News on like the Friday paper, and so Saturday, seeing him like on the pitch, seeing him warm up for his debut was like such a big thing because there were no announcement photos and teasers and all stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, and I always remember his debut. I can't remember what the crowd was chanting, what chant they went with him at the time, but he just turned around and bowed to the NRE.
Love that.
And it
Not
was
enough
such
bowing. Not enough bowing going on at the moment.
it's such showmanship that it's really sort of set the tone for what would then sort of play out over the next 2 and a bit years and close to 100 games and whatnot. So yeah, I always remember the debut and the bow, but yeah, the penalty is just it's madness,
Yeah. Do you want to talk through the penalty, or should we save it for the coconut tier pod?
Let's save it for the coconut tier pod and let Lionel talk us through the penalty.
Love it, Jord. But speaking of Tranmere, we do have a game to preview. I was just about to say a relatively easy home game, but that is maybe the worst thing I could say. Jord, how are you feeling about Saturday? I mean, the Saturday and Tuesday, to bear in mind, 2 back-to-back home games. Tranmere 17th, Shrewsbury, I think 21st or something like that. It's a big opportunity, isn't it, both these games? Let's phrase it like that. Rather than easy game, let's phrase it as big opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, on the easy game topic, it's so dangerous these days with this, unbeaten run. And
Careful, George. Do you want Tranmere to win?
and for the record, I stand with Swindle. Solidarity with the let's get the FA Cup defeat on the cards and chill everyone out. But it's so difficult. The impact that it has and like the bullishness that it kind of instills. And I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, I'm not sure I've ever really been this confident or this bullish of a Cambridge side. And I'm comparing it to previous promotion teams as well. And even, like the most recent promotion, the Lockdown Legends, there was always for me, and I'm a nervous cat, there was always like anxiety and I wasn't too confident, and there's several reasons there. And, Wes not playing midweek, for example, and not being in the ground. So seeing it on TV and perhaps you see games in a different perspective. And yeah, I was never that confident sort of going into games, and maybe it's not been this level since perhaps the Richard Money conference promotion, and even then it's hard to sort of remember that because you just remember the tail end of the season and sort of trying to shit the bed and not winning for a long while. But it's a weird old time to be a United fan because I was doing prep for this pod earlier, just looking at the next 6 games and going, God, that could be like 15 plus points easily.
And genuinely, not like
well, I think
dreamland.
I think it's important to flag, and I think you and Tom have flagged this before, that Oldham away will be really tricky. But what's a promotion season without an eventful Oldham away game, eh? I think them and Colchester over the last 5 games have got some great form, and obviously we play them both, in the not too distant future. But the next 6 games, even if you don't beat Oldham, I'm just looking at the rest of them and thinking, wow, like that it really should be potentially like 15 points, and that's mad. Like this being able to be so confident and bullish as a United fan. And I think it's really key that we do press home and really get those points, because up until late Feb, maybe early March, those first couple of games in March, it feels like such a good opportunity to just harvest points. And then you go into that final run in. Yes, then, it gets tricky. We play all the 6 teams that are currently alongside us in the top 7. But if you can, just look at Bromley right now. Like if you can get that run, and not just a run of of not losing, but a run of just victories in a row.
Yeah.
You put yourself in such a strong position to go into those kind of, the remainder of the season saying, well, we don't necessarily have to win all these games, but because we've got the points on the board. So yeah, a really big this Saturday and Tuesday to put a bit of put a bit of distance between us and maybe say those outside the top seven. Really kind of emphasize that we have our eyes on the automatics. And this Saturday specifically, Julian, a great opportunity to right a very, very boring wrong, because
Oh my
Tranmere
God.
at the start of the year has to be one of the worst, most boring games I've seen. I watched it from Frankfurt, which is obviously very comfortable. Did you guys go? I can't
Yeah,
remember if you
yeah,
went.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Me, Casper, Tom were all up there. That was one of the longest afternoons of football for a long old time. That's up there. I mean, I think in the pod afterwards we had a conversation about worst ever nil-nils, which that is definitely in the conversation for.
but look
The,
how far we've come based on that, like, and I think they were talking about it in the presser yesterday about the feel good factor and the narrative and what all these sort of unbeaten games and wins have done, and kind of almost how it's kind of sort of contextualized earlier in the season as the group were growing and sort of learning, you know how Harris wants them to be, and Harris was learning sort of his approach and so forth. So yeah, I'm really hoping for a comprehensive victory on Saturday to sort of cement just that idea of how far we've come. But yeah, you're right. Your original question was that it is a tricky one on Saturday, because Tranmere are one of those teams with that weird better away from home type
well,
record, so maybe not as straightforward as I'm thinking.
well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's where I was going to go next. That I think you're right about everything you say, and I think there's no. It sounds weird being this cocky, and I'm scared of being clipped up for then to be wrong. But we should be going into it with full confidence, like based on not just the results in the unbeaten run, but just the players we've got and our home form. Even back in September and October, this fixture, you'd look at and go, well, you've got to be taking 3 points from that sort of fixture, really. And to come, but sorry, the point being that the one thing about League Two, though, is League Two is just a crazy league. It's a random league, and things more so than any other division. The form book, to use a cliche, gets thrown out the window. But random results happen every single week, and that's why you've got to guard against that complacency. And to your point about Tranmere's away form, so they are the ninth best away side in the division, which, when you consider they're 17th overall, tells you that their away form is fairly solid. I did then go a step further into that and think, okay, so they've won 5 away games in the league. Who are they against? And that's kind of where your positivity is going to come back, because it's Crawley, it's Bristol Rovers when they were in a real slump.
Bree Evans,
It's Grimsby, it's Barrow, and it's Harrogate. They're the 5 teams they've beaten away.
Tough place to go and win, Harrogate, mate.
yeah, that's true. And I think you just look at that and think, okay, they're doing enough to be not in that relegation battle, but that away form, or those teams they've beaten away from home, shouldn't give us cause for concern. And I think it's all well and good talking like this as fans and on a podcast, and we're not affecting the players. The important thing, and Neil Harris is long enough in the tooth to know this, is that the players stay grounded and they don't get overconfident. They don't think it's a walk in the park, because it's just not at this level. I just don't believe that that's how it works. And I think that one or the other game, I firmly believe we'll win them both. Right? I hope I'm not sounding too cocky when I say that. I firmly believe we're going to win them both. I don't think that either of them will be easy.
I'm with you. I think we will win both, and
one will be really tight. I tell you, one of them will be going into injury time, defending a 1-goal lead, and we'll be heading. Do you know what I mean, like at the end of Fleetwood? And I'm sure it just won't follow the script as easily as we want it to. 2-3-0 wins. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I'm the opposite. I do think they'll be tough, but I think it will be we're trying to break the deadlock. It'll be like a 0-0 or maybe a 1-1 going into the latter stages of the game.
Okay.
We'll all be stood in the crowd going, where are these strikers and these wingers that we should have signed for mixing it up in these latter stages? And we've missed our chances. Because I think a lot of the upcoming games that we've got, these sort of lower league table teams at home, obviously going to do their homework. They're obviously going to see that coming to the Abbey is a tough place to come and get a result. And I think they might try and shut up shop. And I think we might see some changes to tactics on Saturday to sort of be ready for that. But yeah, I think it could be a case of these upcoming games could really hold a mirror up to our situation, where we're not we're not taking our chances, and we don't have the strikers, and we've got away with it against Fleetwood on Saturday, and rightly so. But some teams maybe won't be as expansive as Fleetwood were in the second half, and remainder of the window, because we're going to have a lot of these games coming up over the remainder of the season, and the home form has been so pivotal for us. I think the home form could, obvious to say this, could still be a real pivotal thing for us. You look at those 6 games that we play against the remainder of the top 7, 4 of them are at home. So we really need to continue that home form. We can't be sort of, losing sight of that in the latter stages of the season. And we joked about beating Harrogate a second ago. They might, there is definitely a framework that Harrogate showed earlier in the season where teams can come here, frustrate us. We don't score enough goals to win the game, and all of a sudden, 3 points that we thought was obvious, we don't get, and we'll be annoyed.
That's going to be an interesting game to compare it to, that Harrogate game, because I know around it we obviously beat Cheltenham at home, we beat Newport at home, and Crawley was right around there, start of the season type of thing. But it'll be interesting to compare the kind of growth in the team, because you're absolutely right about the template for both Tranmere and Shrewsbury will be 11 men behind the ball. Let's try and grind something out of this game. And they're probably capable of doing that. And maybe we don't have that difference maker to unlock something. And, on the night, it's 90 minutes of football, 2 teams in the same division, which is what we saw against Harrogate. But it'll be interesting to see if we do come out of this it'll be another sign, maybe not something that we're as worried about, but if we come out of this, let's just take Saturday, 2-0 comprehensive, goal in each half, comfortable as anything win. You go, well, you've kind of found another solution to a problem here, or not a problem, but a solution to a problem someone's posing you on the day, which you're right, it isn't going to be the easiest thing. Should we hear a bit about our opposition? Should we get a little preview from, unbelievably, Matt Caspel?
No way.
Hello, UTAS fans. We're joined by Simon from the Tranmere Rovers Trust. Hello, Simon. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, mate. You okay?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Obviously, looking ahead to Saturday's game, Tranmere visiting Cambridge United after what we still talk about now, the 0-0 at your place, we think was possibly one of the most depressing football matches any of us have ever seen. I don't know if you have any memories of that one.
Do you know what? There's a long list of depressing matches at Prenton Park this season, so they all merge into one. To be fair,
Okay.
Yeah, especially with our home form, is dreadful. So
yeah, I hadn't really clocked this, but just doing a bit of research before I spoke to you, I see you're actually 9th in the away league table. Didn't look at the home one, but seeing as you're 17th in the overall table, I'm guessing the home form is not up to mark.
It's around about 17, 18th in the actual table. Anyway, so our away form is actually keeping us in the position we're in now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, obviously coming into this game on the back of 2 defeats, admittedly at home against Walsall and Bromley, which obviously 2 of the tougher opposition in the league. But good away form, I guess. Wins over Harrogate, Barrow and Grimsby in the last sort of 6 or 8 weeks or so on the road. Is there optimism for this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're coming into a game where the Cambridge are right up there in the form table. So what are the? And when I looked at over the last 6 games, Cambridge actually 3rd in the form table and Tranmere 18th. So based on form, maybe not. Fans are more optimistic about away games than they are for home games at present, where there's only winning 3 at home and 5 away. I don't know what that is, whether it's the mentality of the players when they play at Prenton Park, they can't play. Who knows what it is. But yeah, I think that if we got a draw, I'd be absolutely chuffed. I can't see it. I probably speak for the majority of Rovers fans. It'll probably, even though we'll probably take a good following down there, a decent following anyway. Most people will be expecting to come away with 0 points.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if it's any consolation, I feel like as Cambridge fans, we've been there. We've been there definitely over the last 20 years or so. We know that feeling all too well. I mean, talk to me about expectations for the rest of the season. 17th doesn't sound good, but when you remember that it's League Two, it's looking, the gap is only 10 points to the playoffs. Is there any chatter that if things can pull together, or January in terms of transfer window goes well, that you might be able to look at the playoffs, or is that a pipe
Do you know
dream?
what? I would say that the squad isn't bad. I mean, it's been hit by injuries to key players, which hasn't helped. If we were sort of like hoping for a playoff position at the beginning of the season when we'd made a few signings, then yeah. Right now, I think again, this probably speaks for the majority of Rovers fans who'd say that we can't get to 50 points quicker. Because the last few years, if you go on a trend, the last few years we've finished in a worse position each season. And if we finish in a worse position than last season, then we are going to be flirting with relegation to the National League, which we don't want. So I would say that most fans are probably looking at that 50-point mark as the goal. If we get anything over that, I can't see it just now. Obviously, the form we're in. If we get anywhere over that, then great. With a week left in the transfer window, I don't know where we are in transfer window in terms of players. We just got a couple of lads, young lads in. Particularly impressed with the lad from Everton who's coming as a centre half. He was pretty good on Saturday. The club's in the throes of a takeover, so it's who's going to put the money into going to the transfer window. No, obviously, would the current owner want to risk any more money when he knows he's selling the club? That's where we are at the minute. It feels like a little bit of football limbo at the minute.
Yeah. As I say, it's again, all of it sounds like a story that has played out for us at some point or another as well in our cycle in history. So we can definitely relate to that. Looking ahead to Saturday, then, is there a bit of a blueprint for this away success? What's the setup likely to look like?
Setup for me personally, I don't really like it. He'll set up probably. It'll be like a 3-5-2 setup. But we don't seem to still stop crosses into the box. And I don't know. Sometimes we tend to play not really like an impact style. So you might get a few big punts up to the two lads up front who on the day can be two of the best strikers in Dennis and Ironside can be two of the best strikers in League Two. But currently the balls are getting to them just don't suit their style of play. It seems like we're sort of setting up not to lose, if you know what I mean. But then once we go a goal down, you can see confidence just it drains out of the side, especially at home. And again, I think the problem we've got at home matches is this takeover. There's a lot of unrest in the stands, so that just then filters down to the team on the pitch. Maybe when we go away, it's a different group of fans go away, and also as well the pressure's more, I think, off the players. So I think they express themselves a little bit more when they're away than they do at home. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Like I say, you're playing one of the form teams in the league, and we're away from home, which usually you would be like, But I think that our home form would be away from home being much better than the home form. A draw would be really, really good for us. And again, it's just one more point on the board, getting to that magical 50 number, which I think is your safety number.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, especially this season, I would say. I'm not sure. I think you might already have enough points, to be honest, based on what we've seen.
You've never seen that in League Two, though, do you? It's one of those leagues, and I think anyone is capable of beating anyone on the day, and that's the issue you've got, So
yeah, I think that is true. We've definitely seen that our side as well. Obviously, you mentioned there the strikers. Any other players we should be watching out for? Joe Ironside is obviously a fan favourite for us at Cambridge.
Yeah. And it'd be nice for us if he could score against us, to be fair. You want to watch out for Charlie Whittaker. At the minute, he's probably one of our standout players, with Amari Patrick being injured. Them two in the same side is really good, as both of them are very creative and really good going forward. They'll break the lines really well. In terms of midfield, probably Sam Finley, really good player at this level. Heart of a lion. Just a lot of things, good things that we do through midfield will go through him. Obviously, it just depends on who's next to him in that role. But definitely watch Whittaker. If you give Whittaker any space round about 30 yards out, he will just run at you, and he can score goals as well, and he can score them from distance. So yeah, he's definitely one to watch for yourselves on Saturday.
Yeah, fair enough. And then finish us off with a prediction for the game. Obviously, it's not been the most optimistic. Do you think you can get the point you're talking about, or not sure?
You know what? We're always likely to concede a goal as well. So don't be surprised if you see a 1-1 game. If we go 1 or 2 down, then I probably expect Cambridge maybe to score 3 or 4 with our current form and our current, I think, confidence. I think that would be, it probably would happen. Not that we want it to happen. You're just obviously a realist in football terms, aren't you? What tends to happen on the pitch more often than not. So.
Yeah, I mean, if it's any consolation, I think we're either 12 or 13 unbeaten in the league, so we feel like we're due a bad result, as in we're due a sort of out of turn defeat. So maybe there's some optimism for you there.
Well, we're all the same, mate. I mean, we always say if a team's on a really bad run and they're on, like, say, 8 or 9 and they haven't won, and then we rock up, then that's where their bad run usually ends against Tranmere Rovers. So, yeah.
I definitely think we've said that before as well. Right. Yeah. Obviously, all the best for Saturday, Simon. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Enjoy the game.
You better believe it, Jord. That was Matt Caspel doing a fan interview.
So let me just pick my jaw up off the table here.
I think he was somewhere at the turn, maybe like around 9th, 10th hole sort of time when he was doing that. But yeah, thank you very much, Caspel. Really appreciate that. Nice of you to
love to think that people are listening to this not getting the in joke. The in joke is Matt Caspel never does the fan interviews.
Yeah, well, he's done that one, and fair play to him.
Great at marketing as well, if you need any of that.
Yeah, and good at running train companies as well. So, Tranmere at home, the presser from Neil Harris was revealing only in the fact that we learned Morrow is out for another 5 weeks. That's kind of the big headline news in terms of injuries. Smith is training fully, but not in the squad for Saturday. And Bradshaw's kind of back to full fitness, played 45 minutes in a behind closed doors friendly in the week. What are you doing in terms of lineup here? We just spoke before the fan preview about probably needing to break down a team, and that being the order of the day. We started with 5 at the back against Fleetwood. I assume the first thing you're going to say is 4 at the back, but I'm intrigued. Where would you go with our starting lineup?
I was going to say your theory on the preview show last Friday, ahead of the Fleetwood visit, about starting Lavery or Lavs, as they say in the presser. Might start saying Lavs. I think we should apply that theory to this weekend. I was thinking it at the time when you were saying it last week. I wasn't surprised that we went 1 up top. I think Saturday, or if not Saturday, Tuesday, Lavery gets a start, and I think Saturday is the better opportunity for some reason. I don't know. So something more about get more minutes on Saturday, then it might make it easier to start again on the Tuesday or be benched on the Tuesday. So I think, I still think the 3/5 at the back will stay, but maybe instead of having Knight and Kai behind just one striker, he might drop to just a more traditional number 10 behind 2 strikers. I could definitely see him going 4-2-3-1 as well, but I do like. Yeah,
imagine if he goes 4-4-2. I do like that shape.
I do like that shape with Bennett and Brophy as wing backs.
Imagine he just goes 4-4-2. Just goes bread and butter. 2 wingers, Kai on the right, Brophy on the left, Apre and Lavery up front.
Wouldn't mind it.
I'd quite rate it.
But actually, having said that, would it mean that we wouldn't get the best out of Kai sticking him in more of a traditional winger role? I think given the form, the 4-2-3-1 might be the better answer.
And you'd feel like if the game is like picking a lock, let's say, of a very deep defence, Ben Knight is the sort of player I'd quite like to have. Really good in tight spaces, finding those little balls. Like, I mean, he's got that little thing to like unlock something when a team's trying to frustrate you. So I probably agree. Maybe like a front three of like Knight, Kai, Brophy, and then Lavs up top. It's pretty good. Like you'd think there's enough there, and then you've got Apre on the bench, and suddenly there's a little bit of depth knocking around, and maybe potentially today's new signing, who obviously by the time you listen to this, obviously will have announced.
Who do you reckon it's going to be? Do you reckon it's going to be a winger, or do you reckon it's going to be a striker?
I'm pretty confident it will be a striker, but
nice.
But we need both, so I guess either. I hope it's a striker, put it that way. And to go with your theory, your Lavery theory, that if you bring a striker, if today a striker arrives, maybe he's not quite good to go for Saturday or features off the bench, Lavery starts, and then you can, maybe your new man's ready to go Tuesday a bit more. He's had a few days in the building to play, make more of an impact on Tuesday.
A quick word on Zach Bradshaw, if I may. I feel like he's one of those players in my head where the more he doesn't play, the better he's become in my head. And I've been really sort of nervous recently about the left-hand side. Obviously, Mayer's out. Worries about Brophy.
Purrington's not really featured that much. He's strapping on his wrist, I keep seeing, and not really starting games.
And I just sort of thinking, well, if you get an injury to Brophy, which touch wood we don't, he's normally had a really good injury record with us. I think he had an injury towards the end of last season, but you lose that, and I, like I was saying a moment ago, like really do like that wing back shape for us. So knowing that Bradshaw is fit and it's considered fit enough to be part of the squad, should Chopper want him in there on Saturday, is really good news. So that makes me feel a little bit less nervy about the lack of a left winger, but still want to see like both of them being announced today.
100%. What's your prediction, Jord? I know we kind of touched on it earlier, but what's your score prediction? And let's have a goal scorer. Why not?
Ironside? No, hang on. No, that's not right. That's the wrong team. Go on. The last few weeks, not years, weeks in Moosenet, I've been going 2-1 Shane Lavery. I've just been having this feeling that Lavery's going to score, and I'm very much in that group of people, some of whom are a part of this podcast, that feel like Lavery hasn't been the best since he's come back. Certainly don't agree with the
Harris
good quote
bloody good.
From the presser yesterday.
He's looked very rusty. But
I'm backing it. I think a Lavery start and a Lavery goal this weekend.
Late on?
No. What game was it where...
I know what you're thinking of. It's Fleetwood at home and we turned it around. Lavery scored like that from a corner. We went 1-0 down, then we turned it around quite quick.
No, I was thinking of the home game where we wore the really lovely fourth shirt.
Bromley.
Yes. How can I forget? Smashing league leaders Bromley. Yeah. How silly of me. Where we started Kouassi and Lavery that game.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a similar vibe. 2 up top. I think we'll get 2 goals in the first half, and I think Lavery's getting one of them.
Love it. And then they'll pull one back, probably through Big Joe. Hopefully not another penalty, by the way.
And Tom Walker will probably miss it because he misses Ironside goals. I'm going 2-1 Cambridge win.
Like it. I'm going to go 1-0, and I think it's going to be. I like Lavery goal. Lavery first half goal. He goes off. We go deeper and deeper and deeper. Not we get away with it, but the narrative. It's not comfortable. It's not. Maybe it's not convincing, but we get the job done, and we spin it that way. We go, look, we weren't at our best, but we got the job done, and I think I'll take it. I think I'll take it now. Jord, it's been a pleasure to be on a Friday show with you. It feels like we haven't done a Friday show in a while.
That's why I was so keen to do it, mate. Yeah. There was talk of substituting out, but absolutely not.
No, here we are. You know where to go for the coconut tier. Obviously, thank you to our sponsors, the Old Spring. On Saturday, maybe you're breaking Dry Jan a bit early on Saturday and you fancy a nice cheap pint. You can go happy hour at the Old Spring down on Ferry Path, or you can get Matchday Meal Deal pre-game or 10% off anytime with a United season ticket or Matchday ticket. Jord, I will see you maybe on Saturday. I'm still staying strong with Dry Jan until Oldham away. That's going to be my final day, 31st of Jan. Which I'm pretty proud of myself for, and I think you should be too.
Well, good for you, mate. I'm going to be sinking glasses of red wine next week when I chat to Lionel Perez.
Yeah, good man. Smoking fags, 20 Marlboro Reds.
Go full French.
Yeah, he's just on strike today, isn't he? That's all he is. Anyway, nice to chat, Jord.